Hey everybody, this is Moose, your local travel guy. I wanted to give you guys some advice this time around skiing in Denver, Colorado. So many of you may have never been there before, maybe been there one or two times, maybe didn't have the best experience snowboarding and skiing. So I wanted to spend a few minutes kind of going over some tips and tricks of going skiing or snowboarding in Colorado. Kind of what things to bring, because I want you to have the most comfortable and pleasant experience possible. So the first thing I want to start off with is actually having a nice hat or a pair of sunglasses. Colorado can be really sunny, and especially when you're out there on the mountain, the beautiful snow-capped peaks are really white. So there's actually a lot of reflection. So if you kind of get migraines or you get headaches or it's hard for you and you kind of get squinty all the time, I would highly recommend a pair of sunglasses or a hat to kind of get you from the mountain back to your cabin pretty easily and comfortably, and also kind of protect your head from getting any kind of sunburn or things like that. So that's the first thing I want to mention. I'm actually going to kind of go from top to bottom and explain to you kind of what's the gear that you're going to need to be comfortable on and off the ski slopes. So the second thing I want to mention is actually something that I think is really interesting. It's called like a ski mask. And what I would recommend is just actually like 2 or 3 different pieces of clothing combined into one. So the first thing that is, it's like a hat or like a hoodie for you to wear on top of your head to keep your head warm. It's also something that'll keep your ears warm, which actually gets really important when you're doing snowboarding and skiing in Colorado. This last part over here is going to be a breathable mask. So this is going to go like right over here. You can put it over your nose, you can put it on your mouth. You can also pull it directly underneath if you're like having a little bit of a hard time breathing, or you're getting some moisture built up underneath there. So this is actually really handy because it takes the place of maybe 3 or 4 things. So maybe if you had a beanie, or you had some earmuffs, you had a scarf, and you had some other things to kind of keep yourself warm, this is a really great thing I would recommend. It's called a Tenacious Ergodyne, and the brand is called Inferno, N-F-E-R-N-O. I would recommend them. They're like $12, $13 on Amazon. Really great piece of gear right over here. Another thing I'd recommend is, if in case you don't want to always wear this thing, I would get this. My wife got me this body glove kind of scarf thing. It's got like this little lycra stuff on the back, and then you wear it in the front over here. So you basically connect that ski mask and put it underneath and tuck it underneath there. So your chest and your heart area is all going to be warm and nice and cozy the whole time. I'd recommend this. You can also wear this part when you're kind of going around to restaurants, things like that. If you wear the ski mask inside a drugstore, you may have some interesting feedback on the clothing that you're wearing. So a lot of people like to bring scarves. I have a really interesting perspective on scarves. So let's say you're on the mountain and you're kind of riding down and you're being all like tubular, right? This is how people go down mountains. I'm just kidding. So you've got this scarf wrapped around your neck, right? And let's say it's like super windy, and then one of the things comes off like this, and then you fall, and then it's over here like that. So now you're on the ground and you're picking up this scarf, and this scarf has got bits of snow or ice accumulated inside it. You're kind of wrapping it around you, and it's just kind of like super cumbersome. So I wouldn't wear a scarf when you're going snowboarding. Wear something that's a little bit cleaner and tighter that I showed you beforehand. So I want to talk about the actual gear that you're going to be wearing as well. So this is really important. This is like your core layer underneath. So underneath, maybe you can wear like an A shirt or an Under Armour shirt. Just make sure it's not like super tight, or you're going to be really uncomfortable the whole day. Wear like a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt, and then on top of that, you want to wear one of these jackets. And these jackets have Omni Heat inside them. So it's kind of like that pizza delivery box. Whenever you get your pizza Friday night, you're going to get it delivered nice and warm and toasty. This is why. So this keeps heat inside, and it keeps you nice and dry. So you put this piece of gear on underneath, have maybe 1 or 2 kind of like smaller, thinner layers on underneath, and then you wear this jacket, and this will actually keep you quite warm. What's also really good about this is if you take off your main jacket, which I'm going to show you next, you're not gonna like freeze to death. You're not gonna like freeze to death just wearing this. You're actually gonna be pretty comfortable. It's got some nice pockets in here. It's got another pocket on the inside. Now the one thing that I will say, guys, is this stuff is really expensive. if you go to like REI or Sun and Ski Sports or St. Bernard's, you're gonna spend like $300 to $600 on just a jacket. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. So what I would recommend is, I'm a big fan of Columbia. They have a lot of outlet stores, and they have their prices like 50% off the list price, and then maybe like another 25 to sometimes 50% off that 50% off. So you can get away with maybe getting 60 to 75% off the original price of the product. Maybe you'll get like last year's styles or 9 months old, but like, who cares? They're all pretty similar anyways. So here's the actual jacket. This is the jacket that I got. It's also Columbia. I wore that red jacket underneath. So this is the actual jacket that you wear on top. So you're gonna wear this on top of that orange one that I showed you earlier. Now, I want you to be careful. There are some jackets that look like they're really affordable. They kind of are called like a shell jacket. So maybe you'd wear that on top of that orange one, but I wouldn't recommend that. This has a little bit more protection. It's got a little bit more insulation. It'll keep you warmer. Those shell jackets may not be the best thing for you to wear. That's just my opinion. They're gonna look a lot cheaper. They're gonna be like 50 bucks, and it's gonna tell you, oh, you're gonna be so warm or whatever. I would just recommend getting something a little more heavy duty. These also have like these little sleeve guards, so you know, once snow kind of accumulates over here, it'll be harder for it to get inside your arms and wrist area. So it's also got a nice hood to wear on top. You can zip it up all the way. It's got pockets on the insides and outside. So I would recommend this highly. This jacket here was like around, I think it was like around 100 bucks, maybe a little bit less. The original price was probably like 225 or something like that. So definitely worth it. I would recommend this. This is Columbia as well. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys was the pants. So snowboard pants are also really, really important to stay warm. These pants also have the Omni heat lining on the inside. So just like the orange kind of Pizza Hut box pants I talked to you about before, these are gonna have the same lining on the inside. They got pockets on the back, pockets on the side. These pants also have these little vent holes on the sides here. So let's say you just get done with a really, really good ride. You're kind of burning up. You can open up these vent holes and kind of just cool off a little bit. They're also really wide on the bottom so that they're gonna spread over the boot and the straps of the ski or snow gear very nicely. And they also have an elastic bottom here, as I said before, to kind of keep the snow out from getting under your socks and things like that. Now, one thing I do want to say is, if you're snowboarding and you're a beginner, you're probably going to be falling a lot. And as you're falling, you know, the board and the gear is going to be pulling on your pants a little bit. So what a lot of people do is you take a belt and you strap it on like as hard as you possibly can. That's going to eventually get pretty uncomfortable after like 3 or 4 hours of riding. What I would recommend instead is get a pair of suspenders. You can get them from anywhere, any department store, and they have, you know, fancy suspenders have those leather straps, but they also come with these little metal clips. So you take this metal clip and you put it on the back, and now when you put your pants on, you can actually wear them, you know, kind of like this, and it'll give you some nice support. It'll help you, and you look kind of cool. But I would recommend this because you kind of feel a little bit more at one with your board and your pants, because you're not worrying about them falling down or kind of, you know, dragging. And also, whenever you fall down, your jacket's gonna ride up sometimes, and you may get a little bit of snow accumulated back here. If you wear these suspenders, there's gonna be a much smaller chance of that happening, so you're gonna stay dry and you're gonna stay comfortable. Also get just like a regular pair of maybe some long johns on the bottom underneath. I got these from H&M, they're on sale. Just keep them close and wear them, and put your socks on top or on bottom, whatever's most comfortable for you. And then when you wear your boots, make sure you tuck them inside. Make sure you tuck that lining inside the boot, and then put the rest of the pant on top of it. So even if you take a nasty spill, you're not gonna get like ice or snow accumulated inside your boots. So another thing that's really, really important, guys, I can't stress the importance of this, is having good quality gloves. So I found this guy. The reality is, if you want to buy a good pair of snowboarding or skiing gloves, they're going to be very expensive. They're going to be anywhere north of like $40 to $50, and once you go there on the mountain, they're going to be even more expensive. So I would recommend something that has thinsulate inside, that's got some grip over here as well, and also something that has straps so you can make them a little more comfortable for yourself. I got a size medium. These are really soft on the inside. And what I would say is this is from a brand called Jason. These gloves were like $14.99 or something like that with free 2-day shipping on Prime. I would really recommend them because you're gonna be pretty hard pressed to find anything else that's that cheap, that has that good quality. These kept me warm the whole weekend that we were in Colorado. A lot of these gloves have a small zipper on the back end, and what's important about the zipper is you can kind of put whatever you want in there, but it's really important to put your lift pass inside here. So a lot of times when you're going up on the ski lift, they got to know that you've paid for the ski lift, so they're going to be scanning you and badging you kind of wherever. Put it somewhere here and just kind of forget about it. You'll never have to worry about it again. And then you can also put like maybe, you know, a credit card or some cash or something in case you don't want to carry your wallet with you. Merino wool socks. A lot of people spend a lot of money on them. You can go to, you know, REI and all these other places, Academy, Dick's Sporting Goods, and buy a pair of merino wool socks for $20–25. I wouldn't recommend that. You can actually go to Costco and find a pack of like 5 or 6 of them that have very similar wool to merino wool, kind of it's like a acrylic to a wool blend. Get them, save yourself a decent amount of money. These are really, really comfortable, and you get like 4 or 5 in the same price that you're going to spend on a single pair of socks. I would recommend just wearing 1 pair of socks. If you wear 2, it's going to actually restrain a lot of blood flow through your feet, and when you're wearing your ski boots or your snowboard boots, it's going to make it a little bit tighter on you. I would just wear 1 pair. Now I kind of want to talk to you just about some random like kind of knick-knack kind of things. I got these goggles from Amazon as well. They're from Bole or Bole. I don't really know how to say it. These were about $15. They came pretty quickly. They're nicely made, but I will say they said that the tint on here was like nightshade gray. They said it was clear with like a nightshade gray outlook. The reality, it's like a no shade. I mean, if I'm looking at this here right now and I take this away, there's absolutely no difference. And this is really, really important, as I mentioned before. So if you want to wear your sunglasses underneath, I wouldn't recommend that either, just because you're going to have a lot of fog kind of built up underneath, and you just don't want to mess with having fog on your glasses and having fog on your sunglasses or having them on your goggles as well. So if I get a pair of goggles, I want to make sure that they're going to have a red, orange, or a yellow tint. It's really important because it's super bright, so you're not squinting the whole time, but also if there's a little bit of like a snowfall or a light blizzard kind of going around, you're still going to be able to perform without having, you know, pieces of snow or sleet kind of stabbing you in your eye. And it also just makes you a lot more comfortable, and actually kind of keeps your upper face warm. So I would recommend that. And just also know you're going to get a little bit of fog built up over there. It's pretty annoying. People have a lot of different tips on there. I don't really have a lot of experience in that. I had a lot of build up and I didn't really know what to do about that. So if anybody has any comments on what you should do, please let me know down below. I also think it's a good idea to keep a little bit, a packet of these hot hands with you. They're actually activated by air. You can buy them for like a couple bucks anywhere. I would bring them with you if you have them, because they're usually a lot more expensive in the stores. But you basically open them up and there's like a little packet of stuff inside here. You kind of whack it around in the air, and the exposure, you whack it around in the air, and the exposure that you get actually is what, the exposure that you get to the air is what makes it warm. So it's a little bit tricky with these little packets because you don't really know if you should keep it out in the open or keep them on the inside. You know, I would do a little bit of both. If you just kind of bury them away somewhere, it's eventually going to get cold very quickly. If you put it like on the bottom of your shoe or something, which would be kind of weird, but I guess it would work for a few minutes, but eventually it's going to get cold, and then it's going to make your foot feel really uncomfortable. So I'd like keep them in my hands, like bring them out a little bit here and there. But what I found instead on Amazon is I found this really cool product by Zippo, which they have these things called hand warmers, and this was like $12 or $15 on Amazon. And basically what it is, it's a little metal tin kind of thing, and you actually light this over here. You fill it up with some butane, like that yellow Roncinol bottle. You fill it up with that butane over here, and you just kind of let it chill for a bit. And after like a minute or two, this thing heats up. There's no open flames, so don't worry, you're not gonna like catch fire or anything like that. It'll just keep this piece of metal really, really warm and toasty. I think it gets up to like 150 to 175 degrees. And that's why you want to keep it inside this little packet here as well. So this packet will kind of absorb some of the heat and prevent you from directly scalding yourself. So when we were in Colorado, all my buddies were really cold, but I had a secret. I had this thing inside my jacket pocket, and because there's already vents inside here, it is exposed to air. It is exposed to air normally, so it's going to stay warm, and this is going to give you about 8 to 12 hours of warmth. Also, anytime I go to a place that's like super cold, I always bring some emergency with me. You may not get sick, but you know, you're gonna be burning through a ton of calories. Food there is really expensive. I think I paid like $17 for a slice of pizza. I'm like not even kidding you. It still hurts me to even say that. So you may see like a Gatorade or water and you're like, oh man, $8 for hydration. Like, that really sucks. So just get a cup of water, pour this inside. This is Tiger Balm. This is in case you like take a nasty spill. I'm talking about a lot of nasty spills, but in case you're sore or like you hurt something, this is going to be your best friend. I would highly recommend it. You just take a little bit of the Tiger Balm. It smells like Asia. I use kind of like the back of my nail because otherwise it smears into my hand. I just kind of pour it on the back of my hand. If like my neck is sore or something, you just kind of put it on there. Within like 30-45 minutes, you start feeling pretty good. It'll really help. I wanted to talk to you about how you actually get to the mountain, okay? So flights from Dallas, or actually I think most places to Denver, Colorado, are really affordable. My flight was like $145, which is like crazy. So you can get in and out of Denver pretty quickly from the airport. Now, the problem about the airport is it's pretty far away from all of the resorts and things that you actually want to visit. So we landed around 11 p.m. Actually, maybe 10:30 p.m. We landed around 10:30, and we didn't get to our cabin that we were renting until about 2.5 hours later. Now, what I can tell you is if you're traveling with a bunch of friends, there's almost nowhere. By almost nowhere, I pretty much mean practically nowhere for you to get any kind of food. So if you are hungry, if you're thirsty, eat in the airport before you leave, eat on the plane, or eat somewhere locally in Denver, because I know you're going to be really excited and you're like, yeah, let's go to the mountain, let's go to the cabin, let's go to wherever we're staying. Remember that excitement's going to crash pretty quickly because you're not going to have anywhere to eat. So we drove along that road, I forgot what it was called, for quite some time. We found a McDonald's that was open 24 hours. How can I say this? It came close to ruining our trip for about half of the guys. I'm just going to leave it at that. You can make your own choice. You can make your own choice. But I would recommend that you don't eat there. And I'd recommend that you get some other kind of food because you're going to be burning it all off in the next couple of days. Oh, one other thing I'd recommend is it takes a really long time to go from waking up in the morning to actually skiing. And I know the time it takes for you to get in your car, to get the number of guys or girls you have in your trip with you all loaded and suited up to go skiing or snowboarding for the day, to go down to the mountain to find parking, to find the ski or snowboarding rental shop where you can actually get your gear, to go from walking there to the mountain, to buying the lift pass, to taking your first run down. It actually takes like 2 to 2.5 hours to get that done. Now I know some of you guys are saying that I'm crazy, but all those things can change in between. We had like 6 guys with us, so it took us some time. But make sure you plan ahead. And so the reason why that matters is because I'm going to save you a lot of money. Do not buy your lift passes before you get there. You can save maybe 10 or 15 bucks. So if you know you're going to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get up at 6:30 after flying into Denver, be my guest. But most people kind of want to sleep in a little bit on their vacation, so you're going to be a little bit tired, and I would recommend that you buy your lift pass there. And the reason is that the price of the lift pass will change based on the time of day. So if you get there like at 10 a.m. when it opens, you're gonna pay like 150 bucks. If you do it at like 12 p.m. until close, it's like 100 bucks. And if you do it from like 2 p.m. to close, it's like $75. So don't, prepay it unless you know you're gonna be there on time. What my friends and I did is we basically waited, we had lunch, we kind of chilled, and then we went in right at noon, and we saved ourselves like $35. So I'd highly recommend that. Save yourself some money. And also, when you're renting your gear, there's just always long lines. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Those guys work, for the most part, pretty hard and pretty fast. There's always long lines. Okay, so a lot of people would wear these backpacks while they were skiing. So there's always like a problem of like, hey, I got all this crap with me. Like, where do I put it all in? So you're gonna have like your pockets full of stuff, like your cell phone, your wallet, and all that stuff. So what I saw some people do that I didn't do, that I kind of wish that I did, is they had like a really small backpack that was pretty snug onto their bodies, that they just kind of filled up with stuff. So they had like granola bars in their wallet, you know, keys, ouch, that sounds a little painful, but like cell phone, battery chargers, whatever they kind of had, just like a small amount of stuff in their backpacks. So I've got mixed reviews on that. Once again, right, from a safety perspective, if you're like going down a snowboard and you fall on your back and you've got like a bottle of Gatorade in your backpack and you land smash on that bottle of Gatorade, you know, it's gonna quench a little more than just your thirst. So I would be a little cautious about like that. I actually saw a guy, he had a bag of water that had a little spout on it. Like, I guess you could use that. It's probably a little bit cooler, and he actually just kept it in his front pocket. But like, he was like one of those super hippie dudes that's like, you know, on the back of a train with a bandana and like a stick in his hand, and he's like, hey man, I'm just going wherever destiny takes me, you know. Like, he's one of those kind of guys. So if you want to have, you know, a water bag, then I guess that's totally cool.